Assalamualaikum and have a good day to my lecturer, Dr. Cardina and my fellow classmates. My name is Syafika Atasha binti MOHAMAD Rosdi from KBA 2433B, and today I'm going to talk about what I have been reading related to this assignment, which is a journal article entitled The Effects and Challenges of Vocational Training in Korea by Jong-Whaa, Jong-Suk and Eunbi. The study investigates the role of vocational training programs in improving labor market performance in South Korea, especially income and employment probability. To meet the issues faced by the growing aging population and technological breakthrough, the report advised that Korea should expand vocational training activities and lifelong learning programs, particularly for the elderly. Thus, the purpose of this article is to analyze the influence of vocational training programs on the Korean economy with an emphasis on incomes and job prospects. The main issue of this article is societal bias towards academic education. Based on the study, non-formal job-related education, including vocational training, has a positive and statistically significant impact on earnings and employment prospects, particularly for older age groups. Vocational training has a decreasing participation rate with age, which is around 80.3% of workers aged 59 until 65 getting involved in vocational training. This indicates a societal bias towards academic education, as vocational training is undervalued, particularly among elderly people. The emphasis on academic education and the underrepresentation of vocational training may contribute to this bias, making it difficult to recognize the positive effects of vocational training on labor market outcomes and the need to prioritize and improve vocational training to meet the changing labor market demands in Korea. The study's findings indicates that vocational training improves labor market success in Korea. The study shows that vocational training has a large and favorable impact on salaries and employment, especially for younger workers and those with a higher degrees of education. The paper emphasizes the importance of re-emphasizing vocational training in Korea in order to solve the problems posed by the population aging and technological improvement. It also emphasizes the need of offering change for vocational training for older workers and highlights numerous government efforts and programs linked to the vocational training in Korea. Overall, the findings indicate that vocational training plays an important role in improving labor market outcomes for Korean workers, and it is vital to prioritize and improve vocational training to meet the changing labor market demands in Korea. In order to overcome this issue of societal bias towards academic education, a few solutions can be made, which are: the first one is, in order to provide adequate skills to all workers, a complementing function for the vocational training system is required. It should be upgraded so that workers can keep their skills current with the new technologies. Workers can readily participate in continuous learning opportunities if there are substantial incentives for employees and businesses to reskill and upskill. Secondly, promoting fair training opportunities for small and medium-sized businesses (SMEs). And disadvantaged groups, females, jobless youngsters, self-employed individuals, and not-scoring defectors are among those included. The government provided assistance in developing a training consortium with the other SMEs and training providers in order to improve access to vocational training. Lastly, raising awareness and changing perceptions. Efforts should be made to promote the value and benefits of vocational education, which can include awareness campaigns highlighting success stories of individuals who have pursued vocational training and achieved successful careers, and emphasizing the practical skills and job opportunities provided by the vocational programs. In a nutshell, addressing the issue of academic education bias requires a multifaceted approach that addresses cultural perspective, promotes the values of vocational training, and ensures fair access and participation. Individuals, families, and employers may recognize and appreciate the importance and advantages of vocational training by raising awareness, altering views, and elevating the standards of vocational education. Besides, emphasizing continuous skills development and lifelong learning with these vocational trainees is crucial for adapting to technological advancement and changes job requirements. Implementing these approaches can help to overcome the economic education bias and build more balanced, inclusive, and successful education system that promote vocational training. This will help individuals not just by providing them with practical skills and improve job change, but it will also contribute to the country's general economic growth and development.